Previously on Dig Drive DIY, my brother began construction on his long-awaited 36 by 48 foot pole barn. We started by stripping topsoil and hauled in 16 loads of clay fill dirt. We got the building pad built up level and compacted it in with a roller. Then we hauled in about 6 loads of recycled concrete to finish bringing the pad up to concrete subgrade. My little John Deere tractors were the perfect tools to get the spoils and topsoil graded up just in time to make way for the Amish contractors to start framing up the pole barn. The framers would get the building under roof, and then we would help my brother's concrete buddy to pour the floor before the siding was installed. The problem was that the trusses had been dropped off months earlier at my parents' house. The framers were ready now, and we had to figure out a way to get them there the next day and be ready for concrete next week.
Dig Drive DIY!
Challenge is they drop these trusses off about a mile from where they need to be. Now we have to move them. We don't have a trailer long enough to haul them because they're 36 feet long. So we're going to see if we can carry them over there. I was going to stand 3 or 4 of them up on this side, and then we'll take a chain and hook them and just chain them to the side of the bucket. We got 13 to move. We want to try to make it 2 trips. Just screw that. We'll use the backer. Then go over the side of the bucket, hook it on here like that, and then when we lift it up, put it on the outrigger in the back.
Maybe just put them right here.
Fortunately, we were able to move all 13 trusses with the backhoe in just 2 trips. We finished up in the dark on a Thursday night, and the crew was coming first thing Friday morning to set the trusses. I had every intention to get over there in the morning and get some cool footage of the crane in the process, but by 8 a.m. the crane was pulling out of the driveway, and they were all done.
Well, the building is all framed up now. For the most part, it's ready for siding. He's missing 1 window, and we took the header out of that other door so they get the concrete trucks in here because they're going to try to pour the floor before they put the siding on. So with that header out of there, they should be able to drive the cement mixer in through the door and then get to the back of the building to pour concrete. And so what we got to do is we got to trench in some power from the house, and we're going to bring it up inside the building here. So we got a trench to dig from inside the building up to the house, and then our power will run in there. We might have a drain in there too. Got my father-in-law's mini excavator. We're going to try to dig, put some pipe in. We want to backfill this trench with our recycled concrete material so we can pack it in there real nice instead of using the big slabby clay, because the clay that comes out of there, it's going to be hard to pack in, so we're going to put it in the dump truck.
It's deceiving on camera, but from the operator's seat, it feels like a pretty tight squeeze digging inside the building. In these situations, I'd rather be accurate than fast. So this trench was much slower going than normal. The dirt that we're digging up is all clay fill mixed with recycled concrete, and it wouldn't be very good to put in the yard. It's dirty dirt.
You can go out a little farther if you want.
Actually, if you watched my previous video, you'll remember I tried to haul this dirt back to the woods a few days later, and I got the dump truck stuck in the field in the process. Who needs a skid loader when you've got a John Deere 755 compact tractor?
The only thing we can hit over here is tile.
Except for that well, but it comes up under the basement floor.
So let's get this backfilled. Some drains we dug in. Well, doesn't even look like we dug any holes there, does it?
Whoa.
Ready for concrete in the morning. Close.
Yeah, close. My brother's good friend Luke was there at first light with his crew from Gerke Concrete to help finish screeding off the stones to the proper depth. When we built up the pad, I compared the grading of the dirt and stones to the sanding of wood, where one would progress from a coarse grit to finer grit sandpaper. You start out coarse with the dirt and get it roughed in close. Then you use a finer grit and get the aggregate on top within an inch or so with the laser. And now the screed board will act as our finest grit that will put it right on the money. This step not only makes the concrete an even depth, but also makes it possible to accurately order the correct amount. The last of the preparations were getting finished up, and the first truck arrived on site just before 8 a.m. Everything was looking really good, except the radar. There were storm clouds coming, but it looked like they could just barely miss us. We were optimistic.
How many yards is it? 24? You said it's 24 yards?
24 yards, yep.
How many's on a truck?
He's got 11 on him.
Just cut around the top.
11 on this first truck, and then they split the other two.
The rain's coming now. Should we start visqueen in the end or something?
It's showing right on the edge of 37, but it's that way.
Luke, this is how you build a story. You got to have some kind of conflict. Everything was going well, but there's a threat of rain. It's raining now. Whoa! We have gotta have some drama.
Well, despite a pretty heavy rain that moved through, the concrete still went down really smoothly, and by covering the walls with plastic, we were able to prevent any damage to the finish. It had gotten sloppy in front of the door, so I turned to the 755 once again to help keep our work area tidy and neat. I spent just a few minutes covering up some mud and slop that would help to prevent any unwanted material being tracked onto the fresh concrete during the finishing process. We tackle a lot of DIY projects, but pouring concrete isn't usually one of them. In my opinion, a big job like this is for folks with experience and the proper tools, because you don't get a second chance to do it right. Knowing what to do when it starts raining and how to overcome extra water being introduced into the concrete during the middle of the pour are things better left to a pro.
What do you think of it?
Let it climb it down.
I think it's going to look really good.
A little dicey there with all the rain.
This is probably like the most stressful part, isn't it?
This part's not, I'm just watching.
But I mean, the concrete, having the concrete down.
And getting the electrical tied into the house.
Oh yeah, we got to do that. We still have to finish the electrical. Bye, all.
Yeah, the next task to finish is to get the electric line, drain, and conduit buried up to the house, and then we can backfill and start dressing up the yard in preparations to get it seeded, hopefully yet this fall. Not to mention the building crew will be back to finish up the building. Some of that work is done, and some of it isn't, so hopefully you'll be back to see the next video in this series where everything on the outside is finished up, and my brother will be ready to start his finishing work on the inside. But until then, I want to thank you so much for being here to watch, and if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care.
This is very the horse fly.
I wish I could go in the concrete.
The concrete.
You don't want to go in that concrete.
Yes,